Hello and welcome to this month's honoring creation in traditions and images, stillness, words, and dance. We are going to be here for about an hour, and today we are going to be focusing on on compassion, and I think this is going to be a really interesting experience. We want to remind you all that this is an interactive experience, and we will be using the chat box, which you can find at the bottom of your screen. If you could please put in there where you are from, your name, where you are from, your pronouns, and the names of the people who lived on the land that you now live upon.
There. Okay, and I think everybody get a chance to take a look at where people are from in our virtual circle. From all over, really. Some people have been here many times, and others of you coming back. We welcome you all. Charlie, do we have the principle for today?
So since we have some new people here, real quick, we are here. We are part of Creation. We are a service from Creation Spirituality Communities, and we are here to honor all of creation as a blessing. Creation Spirituality integrates the wisdom of Eastern and Western spirituality and global indigenous cultures with the emerging scientific understanding of the universe and the passion of creativity. It is both a tradition and a movement celebrated by mystics and agents of social change from every age, culture, and it is also the tradition of the historical Jesus himself, since it is the wisdom tradition of Israel. So like I said, today we are going to be talking about compassion, specifically on the topic of deep listening. And this is born out of the 10th principle. We like to go through each of the 12 principles of creation spirituality, one per month. The 10th principle of creation spirituality is the basic word of God is compassion. And we, who are all original blessings and sons and daughters of the divine, are called to compassion. We acknowledge our shared interdependence. We rejoice at one another's joys and grieve at one another's sorrows, and labor to heal the causes of those sorrows.
And now, as we've welcomed those who are sharing in this virtual circle, let us move more deeply into our connection with our Creator, our source, by inviting ourselves to take a few slow, deep breaths. Get into your body now and invite your body to relax and soften anything that has become too tight within you. Shake yourself out a bit and become a little bit more comfortable in your skin. Follow the rising and falling of your breath and center in to your personal rhythm. Invite yourself in a way to turn your awareness to the life force that is all around you and hold that vital life force within you that binds the whole universe together. And now hold a moment of stillness with me and let that stillness surround you. And as a symbol of our renewed connection with our Creator, if it feels comfortable for you, we do invite you to light a candle. You can light a real candle, or you can hold a picture of a candle, or simply imagine your thumb as a candle and imagine lighting it. And all of these lights remind us of the one light, the first light, our connection to the first beginning, the great flaring forth of all creation. And we now acknowledge that this light, remember that everything in the known universe has its origin in a single point of light. And we all stand together in the light of creation. Aho.
And as we come together to honor the directions, I would invite you, if you feel comfortable, to join me in a traditional Neo-Druid honoring of the directions. You may either stand up and face the directions, turn your head towards the directions, turn your mind towards the directions, however is most comfortable for you. And so we're going to start in the east, where we see the great hawk of dawn rising up. And we ask that there will be peace in the east. And we turn to the south, and we see the great stag in the south, reminding us to stand strong in our passions, cares, and concerns. And we ask that there will be peace in the south. And we turn to the west, and we see the great salmon of wisdom. And we ask that there will be peace in the west. And we turn to the north, and we see the great bear of the north, who teaches us to be solid and strong. And we ask that there will be peace in the north. And we look up at the great cosmos around us and ask that there will be peace in all the worlds. And we look within at our own hearts and ask, may there be peace within me that will radiate out unto all the worlds. Amen.
And as we join together, honoring all the directions and focusing our minds on compassion, I thought I would bring back out a favorite of ours called the Heart of Creation for us to go over again. Many of you are already familiar with this. But we'll go ahead and sing one line at a time. I'll sing a line and ask you to follow, and then we'll sing it through together and come up with some hand motions. I am one with the heart of creation. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of spirit. I am one with God. I think many of you know this. I'll sing a line and you follow. I am one with the heart of creation.
I am one with the heart of creation.
I am one with the heart of love.
I am one with the heart of love.
I am one with the heart of the spirit.
I
am
one with the heart of the spirit.
I am one with God. I am one with God. Now I've managed to mute all of you, much perhaps to your dismay, but that way we can sing a little bit more without having a lot of different things coming through here. So let's sing it through, all of us together, and we'll come up with some hand motions. I am one with the heart of creation. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the spirit. I am one with God. And maybe you want to use a different word than God. Maybe you want to use love, or maybe you want to say the divine or the mother, but whatever feels good to you. So, and let's think about what kind of words. I think a lot of us already feel that this is coming, of course, from our fourth chakra, the heart chakra. And so this is where our energy is going to be centered. So I am one with the heart of creation. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the spirit. I am one with all. I am one with God. I am one with the divine. Let's sing it together. I am one with the heart of creation. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the spirit. I am one with God. I am one with the heart of creation. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the spirit. I am one with God. That's enough for now. We'll move on to the next section and we'll hear more later. And so we have gathered together and we've opened our conscious connection to the Creator. We've enlivened and embodied our lives through body prayer. And now comes the chance for us to take a moment of stillness and to notice, what are you bringing with you today into our circle, into our time of connection and community? We're going to be going through the 4 paths with each other. And as we do this, we're going to be using the chat box as our mode of communicating. And as that happens, the chat box will be read. We'll invite you to share in that way. And so now deepening into this, into this work, into this week for you. Where did you notice the via positiva? Where were you struck by awe, wonder, or something magical and amazing this week? Again, use the chat box for your offering.
That full moon. I am in awe of the tools available to help our creativity blossom and grow. And again, that beautiful full moon. Time in the redwoods yesterday. Buds of new grass from recent rain. Seeing my grandson as a living, patient parent to a demanding 3-year-old. My granddaughter's face after winning a swim meet. Successful meeting Saturday and Sunday, getting people to consider the earth in what they do. My house chicken taking a dust bath.
We had lots of opportunities for joy this week, but I know we also had times of reflection, times of emptiness, times of difficulty. And so now, in thinking about this past week, where did you encounter mystery, grief, wonder, or an emptiness? Again, use the chat box for this sharing.
A friend entering hospice. My mother and sister's health worries me, and my father is in the hospital. October already, time flying. Scenes of devastating flooding in New York City. Euthanizing sweet rescue dog Alma after serious illness. Again, sitting with my nephew as he unloaded anger and grief at the release from oppression by his father. Awful details of heat and poverty in India and waters flooding New York. Still adjusting to move from Colorado, loss of friends and community I lived in 20 years. A 16-year-old student of my daughter dying of cancer.
Well, fortunately, we do have options to respond with creativity, with hope, with love to the universe and the communities around us. And so now, where this week have you experienced the Via Creativa? Where have you found yourself experiencing creative energy coming forth from you or coming forth from other people that you wish to support? Again, please use the chat box.
Working on the final chapters of the book I am currently writing. I began sharing my poetry online. During my music study session. Planning a liturgy about climate care for my intentional Eucharistic community. Thanks to so many sharing their vulnerability through poetry, blogs, books, music, and all ways of sharing in compassion. Playing piano duets with 90-year-old partner. Loved a movie, A Million Miles Away, farm worker becoming astronaut. New ideas still swirling. Grateful for Patty's creativity in leading a lovely liturgy on the earth. First interfaith animal blessing service today in our small town.
Such things as interfaith animal blessing services lead to transformation. And that's what we're looking for Via Transformativa, looking to help change our world, to help promote justice and compassion throughout. And so where have you this week experienced the Transformativa? Where have you sent your energies through to help make a change? Or perhaps seen other people sending their energies forth and you wish to support them? Again, use your chat box.
Joining a new group. Working to help others understand the accessibility needs of the neurodivergent community. Just today, learning how to take action to beat a disastrous utility bill tax that will otherwise kick in next year in California. New leadership in renewable energy group, New Energy. A friend working hard on the board of an international support group. The flexibility of folks to fill in when faced with sudden changes. Yoga class where teacher blends physical and spiritual.
And so let's bring all these things together in prayer as community. Infinite love, great mother and great father, eternal source of never-ending wisdom. Our physical being is born of stardust. Our immortal being lives in the breath of our Creator. You hold us and welcome us as we are, your blessed and beloved creation. You join us when we are filled with awe, wonder, or gratitude. And you comfort and connect with us when we feel alone through loss. You inspire us to bring forth essential medicine for the soul, and you offer creativity that heals and rejuvenates us. And indeed, you call us to justice making and to live beyond ourselves in service to the communities that we are part of. Blessings be. Aho. And now we're going to move into our second segment of body prayer. And if you're familiar with the first part, you probably are familiar with the second part, and then we'll put it together. So when we're talking about compassion, we want to have, Lord, have mercy on us, Christ, have mercy on us. And we certainly want to express this in every language possible. But today we're going to express it in Latin. Kyrie eleison. And so I'll just sing the Kyrie for you all the way through, and then we'll sing it together. Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. So that is the top part. That goes under the I am one with the heart of creation. So we're going to learn the Kyrie together, and then you can sing whichever part you want as we're singing them together. So let's sing the Kyrie again. I'll sing a line and we'll sing it together. Kyrie eleison. You sing. Kyrie eleison. Last line. Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. Now let's sing those two stanzas together. Ready? Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. And now let's put it together with what we already learned, and we'll sing it all together. I am one with the heart of creation. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Spirit. I am one with God. Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. I am one with the heart of the Spirit. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Spirit. I am one with God. Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. I am one with the heart of creation. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Spirit. I am one with all. And next, Sacred Readings, Karen Armstrong, the Charter for Compassion. Charlie, shall I turn it over to you in talking about this, I think?
Sure. So I have been a member of the Charter of Compassion since shortly after it launched, and I've worked with them for many, many years. It started when Karen Armstrong, who you may or may not know, is a theologian. She refers to herself as a freelance monotheist and has written many books. Most famously, I believe, would probably be A History of God and God, a Biography. Um, and she was granted a TED Wish, where she could go and make one wish, and they would offer her a grant to make that wish come true. And her wish was to have an institution that had as its heart one goal, and that was to inspire people to compassion. And they granted her wish, and with the grant, she convened a synod of people from over 70 religions and I believe 129 countries to come together to agree on the wording for the charter. And this was important. It needed to be wording that could be accepted by anyone from any faith, as well as be translated into any of the languages of those present, so that it would have carry the same meaning where it went. And so it's very short, and the charter reads as follows. The principle of compassion lies at the heart of all religious, ethical, and spiritual traditions, calling us always to treat all others as we wish to be treated ourselves. Compassion impels us to work tirelessly to elevate the suffering of our fellow creatures, to dethrone ourselves from the center of our world and to put another there, and to honor the inviolable sanctity of every single human being, treating everyone without exception with absolute justice, equity, and respect. It is also necessary in public and private life to refrain constantly and empathically from inflicting pain, to act or speak violently out of spite, chauvinism, or self-interest, to impoverish, exploit, or deny basic rights to anybody, and to incite hatred by denigrating others, even our enemies, is a denial of our common humanity. We acknowledge that we have failed to live compassionately, and that some have been increased, and and some have even increased the human misery in the name of religion. We therefore call upon men and women to restore compassion to the center of morality and religion, to return to the ancient principle that any interpretation of scripture that breeds violence, hatred, or disdain is illegitimate, to ensure that youth are given accurate and respectful information about other traditions, religions, and cultures, to encourage a positive appreciation of cultural and religious diversity, to cultivate an informed empathy with the suffering of all human beings, even those regarded as enemies. We urgently need to make compassion a clear, luminous, and dynamic force in our polarized world, rooted in a principled determination to transcend selfishness. Compassion can break down political, dogmatic, ideological, and religious boundaries. Born of our deep interdependence, compassion is essential to human relationships and to a fulfilled humanity. It is the path to enlightenment and indispensable to the creation of a just economy and a peaceful global community. And the charter has worked in many ways to fulfill this. One, from getting people to sign and pledge to live by it, offering courses on ethics, They have established the Compassionate City Initiative to try to encourage local government to treat their citizens and the environment well. The Compassionate Business Initiative, which encourages companies to take on very concrete principles of compassion, both for their employees and the areas in which they are working, to fulfill this need in our world today. And it's a work that sounds so simple, but is so vital to everything that we are doing right now. If we had basic compassion for the environment, for the other creatures that share this world with us, if we had compassion for our neighbors, a lot of the problems that we currently have would be lessened, if not alleviated. So while it is very simple on paper, it is a very complex topic when you really start delving into it. As we get into this, I'm going to start with Patty, who could not be with us today, recorded a video with her insights on this topic.
No audio.
Charlie, you can tell there's no audio, right?
There's no, okay, it's playing the audio for me.
And it
Oh,
was
when
working when you
when-
tested it to begin with, it was working earlier.
Yeah, let me.
When you share your screen, you have to go down to the way bottom, click a thing that says share sound, and maybe optimize for video too, but yeah, if that's on the
I
way,
see it.
you might be
Thank
able to,
you.
yeah, you might be able to do it now.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry. This is the first time I've had to do this. Thank you so much. Let me see if this is working now.
Greetings. I'm Patty McGrath, and I'll be traveling for the service today. So I thought I would create a video because the subject of living with compassion is really important to me. A friend relayed in a meeting I was in this past week, he lives in Oregon, that there is a move in his small town to replace the mayor and members of the city council so that the new slate of people can eliminate the shelter he and his wife and others have worked to build in their town for homeless people. And they can evict all of the homeless people and get them out of their town. So I thought, though, there's an example of really not living with compassion, kind of. I was led to go to a website called nextcity.org, where there are many podcasts and articles about wonderful things that people are doing in cities all across the United States. So I learned a lot about how we are dealing with the problem of homelessness in the United States. So here are just a few highlights. One, apparently public housing authorities are completely locally autonomous. They do not have to go by HUD regulations. HUD issues suggestions, standards, and then each public housing authority can decide what they want. And most of them in the United States have decided that if anyone has a criminal record, even if they have served their time, they come out of prison, they are not allowed to rejoin their family that may be resident in public housing because they have a criminal record. And this adds to a way to have homeless people on the street because they're not allowed to enter to live in public housing, period. And that's a totally locally made up thing, has nothing to do with public housing, nothing to do with real safety. Another thing I learned was about Section 8 vouchers. These are vouchers from the federal government that people who live below the poverty line receive to, once they've paid 30% of their monthly income for rent, a federal voucher is given to them for the balance of the fair market value of their rental. So this is a way to keep families in decent housing without having to federally build housing to put people in. And apparently there are twice as many people getting Section 8 vouchers now as there are people living in federally built public housing. But these landlords have decided that poor people are a bad risk, and so they just discriminate against them. One good thing, though, is that very recently in the District of Columbia, tenants got together and prospective tenants got together and sued a rental company for discrimination against Section 8 vouchers, and they won a $10 million settlement. And the realtor in charge of that company is no longer allowed to practice. They have lost their license permanently. They're hoping that judgment will send a signal to other landlords against discriminating against people with Section 8 vouchers. Another issue is the state of Texas in June of 2021, Governor Abbott signed a bill that makes it a criminal offense for any person to sleep on the streets or parks or public property of any city in the entire state of Texas. And no city can countermand this order. And it's not only a crime, but it's a $500 fine. So it's actually, if you're homeless, you're also a criminal. There you go. However, the irony is that in the city of Houston, they have one of the most effective homeless conversion programs. They deal with something they call housing first. And so that whole continuum of care of counseling and medical care and everything that homeless people may have a need for is connected to getting someone in a permanent place first. And they ask people what part of the city they would prefer to be housed in, and they negotiate with landlords. I mean, what landlord wouldn't want a tenant where the rent is paid and the person is on counseling and coaching? They're getting monitored. So it'd be almost like an ideal tenant. The Houston program has been very effective. They have good statistics that show that hundreds of people that they have placed in housing, after 2 years, they track them, they're still housed. 90% of them are still housed. So it's a very, very effective way of dealing with homelessness. And aside from all the bad news there is about how many homeless people there are, even in my own county, the number of people has increased by 45% from 2021 to 2022. So that's not good. But there was one very bright light that I learned on nextcity.org, and that is a group called Built for Zero that aims at using data-centered approaches and housing first and coordinated efforts to deal with homelessness, was granted a MacArthur Foundation a grant. They won a competitive grant, and they were given $100 million to work on homelessness. And they have parlayed that across all states and many, many cities, and they're going great guns. So there's hope on the horizon. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. And there's a lot of voices we should be listening to, and there are a lot of ways that we can do this. I just wanted very briefly to mention in Rabbi Rami Shapiro's wonderful book, Judaism Without Tribalism, he simplifies the mitzvah down to just 8. There are just 8. And one of them that he mentions in there, one of the 8 that he views as absolutely essential, is the mitzvah of lishmoa, which is listening. It is deep listening. It is listening to the voices of those around us. It is listening to the voices of those, of the animals, of the trees. But even more than this, listening for the deep hum of the universe. Something that a lot of meditators have noticed from various traditions. We all have different names for it, and we all talk about it in different ways, that in moments of deep meditation, there's this humming that can be not only heard, but just felt inside of us, this thrumming of the universe itself. And there have been quite a few studies that are looking at meditators that have noticed that something is going on in meditators' brains when this happens. And it was thought, the assumption was that this was us getting calmed down enough in our minds that we were hearing our own blood flowing in our ears, that's what we were hearing was our own heartbeat. And what they're finding is, at least in our brains, it's not the auditory part that's firing when meditators have this experience of this thrumming. And some people actually experience it as a light shining around them rather than an auditory experience. But it's not the visual or the auditory areas of the brain that are firing when this happens. It's actually the complexes inside our brain, that the mirror neurons that react in compassion with others, that are firing when we're in this deep state, when we're experiencing this humming of the universe, this light of the universe. And it's that has caused a lot of us to start feeling like this is us really connecting in and dialing into that compassion of the universe itself, that just plugging in and getting in there. And so I advise everyone, and just to pay attention for this, and just to notice it if it happens to you during meditation. It doesn't happen in every session of meditation. It is quite a rare and special thing when it happens. But one of the things that a lot of us have noticed is that once you start paying attention to it, it happens more frequently, and it feels like our heart opens and we start experiencing compassion more deeply. This is what Thich Nhat Hanh would often refer to, and so would Trungpa Rinpoche would refer to as the flash of bodhicitta, the flash of the Buddha mind, the flash of the awakened mind, that would just flash in our minds, and we would be in this place of compassion and that we were seeking. It's that same experience, and it's one that we can have through just taking 15 to 30 minutes a day in deep meditation, to just let go and let be. Carolyn, did you have anything that you wanted to share right now?
Well, I have to say I'm a little surprised at the direction you turned, because I really wanted to hear more from you about your own application of the Charter of Compassion in your private business. Yes. And I think that's worth talking about, because you're applying this compassion for charter very directly in your place of business. I think I would like to hear more about that. We skipped that part.
So within the Charter for Compassion and the various groups that they have set up, there is what is called the Business Charter for Compassion, which has various elements that are stated in your articles of incorporation. So you have to, as a business, to accept the charter, you actually build it directly into your legal obligations that you're filing with the government, that we are going to operate in these ways. And they require such things as a certain as being open, transparent, honest with our employees, that we are not that we are going to have a compassionate workplace, and not encourage backbiting or excessive competition between the employees, that they are going to find a place where they can actually accomplish the tasks that we're trying to do as a business, but not in a way that they have to sell their soul to do it. And the way this functionally operates within the business is when we are bringing in a new person to work with us, we actually have to by the bylaws of our company, we have to bring out these articles and discuss them with the new person that's coming in, and we have to mutually agree on them and sign them together. We are making a compact with each employee that we bring in, that they are going to be abiding by these principles in our business relationship with each other, so that if they have questions, that have answers, which is something we have found some people struggling with, that not every question has an answer that we have access to immediately, but that we answer them, that we are open, that we are clear with what we are doing, why we are doing things, and we have to stay honest with them. We have to stay honest with the community itself. You cannot rely on trickery to get people to buy things, all of those things. It's built into the DNA of the company all the way down. And it's remarkable when we get people in, because it is such a different work experience and work environment for people, that when they leave, we own a restaurant, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, we own a restaurant. And when people leave, they very quickly turn around to try to come back because it's not a common experience where they know that, you know, if we tell you this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, you know, it gives them a lot more freedom in their activities, because we don't dictate as a company. So a party is coming up who has a passion for this, who really has a feeling for this. And our holiday decorations, for example, we almost never have to assign decorating to people, because people start showing up a month before the holiday going, okay, so here's what I started thinking about doing. And they're like just showing up with these ideas of how to bring that in there. And they know that this is a place where their voice will be heard. Anybody can come up with the idea for a dish or a drink, because it's an open environment. And it allows them all to have that creativity, to have that input in the running of the business. And on the other end of it, we have it set up so that when we have months of profitability, all of that profit doesn't go into our pocket. It gets split up amongst everybody that works there, because we all made that profit happen. And that's built into the DNA of the company as part of the compassionate business, that we are here to work together, and to be there, to be supportive of one another. And it's been rather remarkable, I think, in a lot of ways, watching how this has worked. Because when people need time off to go to something, they just go and talk to other people and start making trades for their schedules, and they don't come to us saying, I'm going to need this time off. They show up and go, okay, well, I need time off for this, and so needs time off for that, so we're going to switch our shifts to get together. And it's like there's no struggle about it, because everybody is open and honest about their time. There's a very interesting honesty the end empowerment that this has brought to all of the people that we have working for us. And I've been a champion of the Charter for Business for many years. We signed the charter 10 years ago for the business. And it's been an amazingly remarkable thing, because when people have spread rumors about us, because, you know, we are a queer-owned business. I don't know if you can hear my husband in the background, but we're a queer-owned business in the heart of the Ozarks. So people do like to tell stories about us. We've literally taken the employees in, opened up the QuickBooks, and showed them the numbers. Like, no, here it is, you know. And there's no fear in doing that, because we're not trying to hide anything from anyone. It is there. We can have that level of transparency. And that has gotten a rabid loyalty from a lot of the people that work for us, and just an amazing experience for everybody who comes in. And when I think of all the ways that the charter for business could be employed in a lot of different circumstances, I hope that it spreads and more companies sign on.
Well, thank you for that, Charlie. Really, Charlie has such a perfect, I think, application of this subject of compassion. How do you bring compassion into your workplace? How do you bring compassion into your daily life? So I'm looking at the clock and realizing we don't really have time to go into our small groups. But we are a small enough group here, I think, that if I'm just going to invite you to put yourself off mute, and maybe some of you have some examples of what ways can you practice compassion. The question is through deep listening, and what Charlie just described was deep listening as to the needs of the employees in their restaurant. But of course, it can be deep listening in many different capacities. So I'm going to open up the floor now, and hopefully some of you will have some things that you want to bring up in regards to this topic of compassion and applicability of compassion in our daily lives. While you're thinking, I will just say for myself, when I was contemplating this, it feels kind of very American and self-centered, but I feel like for me, the place where I find the most difficulty in exercising compassion is with myself. And that just looking in the mirror and exercising compassion can be some of the bravest, most courageous things that we can do.
And compassion is a struggle. And when I work to teach people, I might keep muting, what really is the practice of compassion, it all starts with yourself. And that's why I love that they chose to adopt the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Because if you're not starting at that place of compassion for yourself, and I do a lot of work with the neurodiversity community, and that can be really hard for us because living in a world that is built for neurotypical brains, we have a lot of needs that often are not catered to. And that's a big part of compassion as well, is making sure that we are making room for those who are like us and for those that are different. And extending that compassion out to everything. Learning to have compassion for the rocks and everything. Yes, Sylvia.
I recently broke my arm, and like it hurts, of course. And I have never been so aware of the need to be aware of what's happening to other people, to go visit them when they're sick, knowing that, it can be very boring in a hospital. Just last night I was with somebody, and I'm reminded of that. But I've gotten much more sensitive because I'm usually well enough. But when I'm hurting, then I realize other people are hurting too. And so it develops a kind of a feeling with that other person. And then, of course, you act on the feeling if you can.
That is so true. You just reminded me, if Lori were here, she wanted to actually bring that passage out of the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus says how when you have fed the hungry, give water to the thirsty, visited the sick, visited those in prison, you have done this to me. She really wanted to talk about that. And I love that Spirit brought her voice here through you, Sophia, because that is a very important part of compassion. Does anyone?
I did notice that Mary Jo signed off, but she did put in the text something about the Compassion Charter and addressing non-human animals and other life forms and the earth itself, the earth herself, and expanding this. And I think we talked about this briefly, Charlie, in our meeting, that it does seem very human-centric
It is mentioned in the first and obliquely mentioned in the fourth paragraph, but yeah, the organization behind the charter does do a lot of environmental work, and a lot of it is helping people who are in activism deal with compassion fatigue, which I think a lot of us are feeling. And one of these days we should probably do a whole session on dealing with compassion fatigue when seeing all of the terrible things that are happening around the world seemingly constantly now, how not to get worn down and feel beaten down about that. But yes, I very much agree that that needs to be brought out to everyone and everything. As my tradition often reminds us, start with the trees. Have compassion for the trees and listen to them, and they will give you the wisdom that you need. And they really do teach you how to live in community.
Well, I think we're actually running out of time here. I'll just give open the floor for another half a minute. If anybody has anything they want to just.
So basically, I just want to say that, talking about deep listening, I feel like recently I have really focused in on this particular thing, that I don't have to be doing something for someone. By listening to them, I'm acknowledging them and validating what they need. And I have a brother that calls often with very long conversations where he mainly talks. But I've realized how important it is. And what's nice is he seems to realize it, because at the end he will say, "Thank you for listening."
It's nice.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because yes, that is such an important part that often gets overlooked, because we have this desire to act, to do something, to intervene, and sometimes, and the best thing that we can offer is just that ear, just to listen and acknowledge, because a lot of people just don't have that in their lives right now. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, Charlie, I don't know if you're able to put our slideshow forward a little bit here. We're not going to break into small groups. So you can donate if you want to help support our activities here. You can donate at cscommunities.org/donate. I don't know about the snail mail. Nathan isn't here tonight, and he is moving to Chicagoland. So if any of you are snail mailing it, you might want to let us know, but it is listed there. Soon to be changed. And I think, again, due to the hour, we'll skip body prayer and go straight into blessing into our wholeness. And so, keeping ourselves on mute, we'll start off with place a hand on your heart and a hand somewhere else on your body. It needs attention, or maybe another hand on your heart. And repeat after me. The truth of my being is as radiant as a star.
The truth of my being is as radiant as a star.
The love within me is stronger than any other force in the universe.
The love within me is stronger than any other force in the universe.
I am a beloved blessing of the Creator.
I am a beloved blessing of the Creator.
Aho, blessed be, Amen.
Aho, blessed be, Amen.
All right, and so now if you want to unmute yourself, turn on your gallery view if you don't already have it on there. Place one hand over your heart while extending your other hand forward to the screen, and bless each other in the beloved community with repeating after me again. The truth of your being is as radiant as a star.
The truth
Of
is
your being is as radiant as a star.
The love within you is stronger than any force in the universe.
The love within you is stronger than any force in the universe.
You are a beloved blessing of the Creator.
you
are a beloved blessing of the Creator.
Aho, blessed be, Amen.
Aho, blessed be, Amen.
Thank you all so much for coming today. And now, as we close our circle out, we will be extinguishing our candles together. Take your candle and now translate the light into your heart and send it forth to those who need blessings, which I think include all of us. And now extinguish the flame even as our connection does continue in spirit. Thank you again for being here tonight, and thanks for your patience. Thanks especially to Charlie for pinch hitting for us. Charlie, you did a fabulous job. Last minute like this, we really do appreciate it. And well, stay tuned. We'll be back in a month, the first month of November, first week of November. And so we'll just stick around here. If you all open up the floor here, if anybody wants to chat along, it's a good time for
Don't
us.
forget to stop the recording.
Thank you.